Hey guys, we're in Visorhead and we're at Motorcycle Live London today. Check it out.
Hey guys, we've got Sam Manicom here. He's world famous adventure traveler. He's published books written for years and years through pretty much every country imaginable, right?
No, I've still got a lot left to explore. I've only been to about 80 countries so far.
80 countries is what, like 1/3 of the whole world, including tiny bits. I wanted to ask just some general questions about traveling because we're doing our first trip, and that's kind of, you know, some invaluable advice from a person who's done it all. All right, so firstly, what made you kind of sell everything or, you know, leave everything behind and just take this leap of faith and just go on a trip and be alone for so long? What was the kind of the motivation behind it? Because a lot of people are motivated by different things. You know, some people go through, you know, some personal problems, some people just are bored. What was yours?
I just suddenly realized that I could, and that you didn't need to be anybody special to do a big trip. What you needed was to have no debt and no responsibilities. So for me, I didn't owe anybody any money. My family were well, I'd got no children, no pets, and if I sold everything I'd got, I could do something completely different. And I just thought, how rare is it to have all of those things together in the same place? And how stupid would I be if I didn't do something different? So what was I going to do? And I have to admit that I was in the pub at the time and I was having a few beers. And they helped the grey cells work.
Like, yes.
That's the one. I'll ride a bike through Africa. So I handed my notice in the next morning. I passed my bike test 6 weeks later, and 6 weeks after that I was at the edge of the Sahara Desert.
Wow.
And I tell you, I'll never forget sitting looking over the sand and thinking, Sam, you idiot, what have you done?
Wow, that's incredible, because a lot of people want to build up the experience before they go, so they're, you know, safe on the road, and you just passed your bike test. That was an impulsive decision, but you never regretted it, right?
No,
you
not at all.
Continued with that.
Not at all.
It's the best
I
way.
think when you're going out and experience, you have to accept that you're going to do stupid things. You're not going to get everything right. But
Absolutely.
if you think about when something goes wrong, it's actually the beginning of an unexpected adventure. And I always think that people heading out on a big trip shouldn't be afraid. They should be respectful, but not afraid, and there's a big difference. If you're afraid, then it's a really negative thing. If you're respectful, then it's positive, and it means that you're looking at where you're going and how you're dealing with the different things.
Cultures and everything,
Yeah.
Be sensitive.
Exactly,
to that,
exactly. So fear is a damaging word, respect is a very positive one.
I would say that fear is more about like the technical side of it, because, you know, we all understand that you need to be respectful to, you know, other cultures. You don't just go all like, oh, I'm just, you know, tourist from Europe, respect me, and you need to be first respecting them, right? But it's more about, what if something happens on the road? What if I'm stranded somewhere? What if, you know, I'm going through the desert and there's no one around, you know, for miles and miles? That's more of the fear that, like, a lot of people, I think, are experiencing before going on a trip like that, and that's why they want to build the experience of, you know, riding alone. But who cares? You need to just go out, right?
Yes, you do. There are an awful lot of people in this world, and there are actually very few places in the world where you won't find people. You may not see anybody for 3 days, but sooner or later somebody will come along. And my attitude, I was a complete mechanical idiot. I didn't know about mechanics. Give me a piece of wood and I'll make you something nice. But mechanics, my attitude was, look, I've got a manual, I've got a set of tools, and I've got some spare parts. And I'll just sit and swap bits until something makes it work. And if it doesn't, then I'll wait until a truck comes. I'll stop the truck driver and I'll see if I can get my bike on the back of the truck, and then it'll be to a big city somewhere, and then I'll find. But this isn't bad. This is just another adventure.
Of course, it's part of it, right?
Yeah, exactly. A new set of people that I'm going to meet, a new place that I hadn't planned to go to. So disasters aren't a problem, they're just adventures.
Yeah, it's very interesting kind of concept. And another aspect that kind of a lot of people, especially before their first trip, are worried about is this kind of coming back syndrome. Like after being away for so long, being alone for so long, you come back to the routine of doing things the same way every day, in and out.
Yep.
A lot of people get depressed. And did you experience that? How did you deal with that?
There are some tricks to this, and the first one is don't come back in debt, and don't come back with no money at all. There's nothing more depressing than coming back and not even being able to go out for a beer with your friends that you haven't seen for all of this length of time and catch up with them and so on. And you need to have enough money to come back so you can get somewhere to live.
Yeah, of course.
A deposit on a flat or whatever it is. Coming back broke, that's totally depressing. But one of the other tricks is don't come back and expect to go back into your old job being the same person you are. You're going to be different. And so maybe when you come back, you'll actually want to look for a different type of job that will suit the new you.
That's interesting. So it changes you that much that...
It can.
I guess, it also differs, if you go on for a few months or for years and years, that obviously changes you along the way much more. But
sure.
That's incredible, we'll still experience that somewhere next year.
Good.
When we return, it's going to be something, a new world, and we're gonna publish that as well somewhere.
It's part of the fun of a journey. It's finding out how you, as an individual, are going to react in the different situations.
You basically learn about yourself.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
Very interesting. Yeah. And what's your attitude towards? That's a bit of a different topic, but what's your attitude to traveling like on your own, or versus having sponsors who sponsor you? I mean, traveling for your money, for your savings, or getting sponsors that like provide you with some, some equipment or money or something else.
Okay, I think if a person is going to look for sponsorship, then they have to accept that they're taking on board a responsibility.
Yeah.
Some companies will give people who have got an impressive trip happening kits because they've got a great heart and they're passionate about motorcycling and they want to help. But the reality for most companies is they're all trying to make a living too.
Of course.
And so by sponsoring, they want exposure. And for you as the person who's receiving sponsorship, then you have to take that responsibility very seriously and make sure that you give that sponsoring company value for money through exposure with magazine articles and blogs and Facebook and Twitter and those sorts of things. And if you can do that, then you can feel at peace with yourself because it's an honor thing for you as much as it is for the company who's letting you have the kits.
They're making money as well, But so it's just very different because a lot of people decide to go just alone because they don't want to have that responsibility. They want to go and explore and not have any responsibilities on the road and just have their own adventure.
I had very few sponsors, very few, and I didn't have anybody for the first 4 years.
But that made your adventure, right? You went to it that way. Last question, literally. If there's a lot of people who don't have the luxury of leaving work and going somewhere for months and months, but there are people who still want to have a proper adventure somewhere. What would be your destination that you would go somewhere, say, under 1,000 miles away from London, let's say?
Under 1,000 miles?
Under 1,000, maybe 1,500 miles. So something that can be done in 2 weeks, roughly, that people can get off work.
Anybody who lives in Europe is incredibly privileged because we have got such a wide diversity right on our own doorstep. I meet people who say that they don't have adventures, but when they tell you about the different places that they're riding in Europe, then you know that they're having adventures because they're going places where things smell different and they sound different and they taste different and they're stretching themselves because they're out of their home environments, and that's adventure. Morocco is a fantastic place to go, for example. It's very close. Eastern Europe, the Balkans, that's adventure because things are very different there. But I mean, you can also do things like at the moment the exchange rate for the rand is very much in the favour of Europeans. So you can fly down to South Africa very easily, hire a bike down there, really cheap now, and roads in South Africa, Southern Africa. Fantastic.
Wow, great advice.
But I mean, take it a little bit further. You can fly to Vietnam, not expensive, and then rent a bike,
Rent a little-
$6 a day,
Yeah, that's
and spend a month, 2 weeks, whatever time that you can get, just going exploring on that.
That's another great opportunity for people now, because more and more companies are actually, are offering more like rentals everywhere. I've
Yep.
noticed, like even in Myanmar. I
Yes.
think. Yeah, because tour companies.
Yep.
Incredible. Well,
Absolutely.
thanks a lot.
Oh,
Thank
you're
you for
very
your
welcome.
time.
You're very
Thanks, enjoy
welcome.
your time.
And good luck with your project.
Thanks.